All right. Looks like we are live on Facebook and live on YouTube. So let me fix Facebook actually. Having an issue with Facebook. Bear with me 1 second. As you guys come in, say hi. I'm just trying to get Facebook up and running. Ran into an issue. Well, in the meantime, welcome to the Sunday night wonderful world of Generation X. You all know the drill. We go live every Sunday night, right around this time, in order to just talk about all things Generation X. Give me one more moment. Leave it to Facebook to be problematic. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Hope they're enjoying Memorial Day weekend, remembering to remember all those that gave all in order for us to be able to do the things we do. What's going on, Wirehead? How are you, buddy? What's going on, Kevin? What's going on, Cindy? I don't know why Facebook doesn't want to let me go live. Come on. What would I say to a beer, Norm? Daddy loves you. All right, 5 more minutes, and then maybe Facebook's just not going to let it happen. You can play Breeze Slots. I didn't know what that said. What's going on, Joey? What's going on, Delta? What's going on, Choppy? Hello, Rue. Who else is thankful for keyboarding or typing class back in high school? All right, there's that. Save that. Interactivity, featured links. Go live. Sounds like I'm just hitting random buttons. I promise you I'm not. But it keeps wanting to go to the wrong camera. It's driving me insane. What's going on, Ernestine? Dude, of all the classes I took in high school, the one I least expected to become so crucial was keyboarding, was typing. Through college, one of the things I did to make money in college was I wrote papers for people and basically guaranteed at least a B. They didn't have to pay me if they didn't get at least a B. And I just typed fast. Save that. I don't want that camera. I want that camera. All right, I think that's everything. Facebook is driving me insane, but I think I got it. All right. I think we're live on Facebook now too. All right. Can I say you are my spirit animal? You absolutely can say that. What's going on? Good to see you, Kristen. What's going on? F that. I like the name. Yo, hoverboard. Pretty awesome. One of my favorite things. That I just meow? Not that I'm aware of. My streaming software used to go to Windows default mic on me all the time. It's always the first thing. Yeah, for me, it doesn't want to give me the external camera that I prefer. But I see everybody is starting to pull into Facebook now. Oh, I appreciate that, Sam. Gen X bro from another hoe. I'll take that. Hey, Lola over on Facebook. Hey, Tamara. How are you? Coming in from Georgia. Good evening, Rebecca. Good evening, Isabel over on YouTube. Coming in from Corpus Christi. James, our resident Zennial. Happy to have you here. DC, No Man, Marvel. I've got Marvel right up there. And I have DC. You can't see it, but it's right up over here. So I've got both represented. Why was Facebook being weird? I don't know. Sometimes it just does what it does, and I just do what I do. Sam saying proud Gen Xer from Minnesota. Joan, hello. Lieben, good to see you. Ty, David, Bill, Christy, and also in South Carolina, just like me. Doing well, Jessica. How are you and your family doing? First and foremost, just want to start off today's show by expressing my gratitude to all those who have lost service members in the service of our country. This weekend, Monday, is the time where we set aside time to be grateful for those who gave everything for us and for the liberties and the freedoms that we enjoy. So I just wanted to start off the show by saying that. I wanted to be respectful and remind everybody that it's okay to be happy this weekend. It's okay to enjoy the time with your family and with your friends and to be grateful for it. But it's not a happy Memorial Day. Although we can be happy on Memorial Day, it's a reverent holiday where we just remember, look back, and express our gratitude. So that's that. James from Colorado. Jessica says her family's doing well. Patrick coming in for Nuremberg, Germany. Leslie from Minnesota, from Mississippi. So what's going on this week? Been a rough week for Gen Xers and baby boomers and older millennials. We lost a good one this week. George went. Norm. Dude, it's crazy living in a world where Norm's not in it. Where Rebecca's gone, Coach is gone, now Norm is gone. So many people that we grew up watching, right? that helped shape our ideas of what was funny and what was comedic, and just was like a good friend. For me, Cheers was every Thursday night, and I bartended for my brother in Buffalo on Thursday nights. So we would start the night off by throwing Cheers on, and everybody would gather around. It was a neighborhood bar, and we would watch Cheers from our neighborhood bar. And it just was a Thursday night thing. It's just the way we got the night started. And then the music would start, and we would do all the shenanigans that would come later. But Cheers just kind of was what we aspired for a neighborhood bar to be. And if you've ever spent any amount of time in a bar, and I'm not talking clubbing, I'm not talking a nightclub, I'm not talking a corporate sterile environment. I'm talking about like a neighborhood bar where you walk in and and everybody, if they don't know your name, that means you're new, but they soon will. That's the kind of bar we had. And on the weekends, it would get busy and it would be, more transient people and more clubby. But during the week, it was, yeah, he died on the 32nd anniversary of the final episode, Deb. But that was, and there was a norm in every neighborhood bar. There's a Cliff in every neighborhood bar. Those characters were so well represented that it's amazing. What's going on, Corey? How are you, Brian? Sad day for football too. Jim Irsay, Colts owner. I saw that as well. Sam, hello from the UK. It's just one more memory that continues, although the thing that gave us the memory doesn't, right? And some people say it's sad that as we get older, our memories are dying. We're losing our memories. Our memories don't die. We keep the memories alive. That's a big part of what we do here. But the people move on. Who was who at your bar that fit Cheers? We had a guy named Jeremy that was he was a Navy recruiter, and this guy knew everything. Jeremy was 1000% Cliff. You couldn't say a word without Jeremy chiming in to tell you everything there was. And for every Cliff that you had at the bar, there was absolutely a Norm sitting right next to him, and that was the same at Faraday's too. What's going on, Life? What's going on, Sydney Buckner? Brandon, how are you? Greg coming in from Kernersville. That's just the way it was. And then behind the bar, you had I started my career as a bartender. Didn't matter what I was doing, by the way. I've always been a bartender. The most comfortable place on earth, if not in front of a camera these days for me, is behind 2 feet of wood. Did not mean for that to come out the way it did. Being behind the bar is a very comfortable place for me. I've been doing it since I was about 16 years old. My parents owned a bar, and at a very young age, I bar backed and bartended. Dale, thank you for the stars. So I'm very comfortable there. And even when I had a corporate job managing multiple branches for different banks, I still bartended on the weekends for family. And today I still do it. So it's a very comfortable place for me. And I started being Woody, the young person behind the bar that needed to be taught things. And now I'm realizing that I am going from Sam, because I got to Sam, but now I'm afraid that I'm cresting over into Coach. And I'm not sure I'm quite there yet, but I definitely went from Woody to Sam, and there's only one step from here on, and that's going to Coach. And I'm just not sure I'm ready for that yet. Ian says hello from Lethbridge, Alberta, Canada. Enjoy podcasts and clips. Always brings back great memories. Appreciate that. Bar backing teaches you to work hard for sure. Yeah, and the bartenders. So I just did a post about this younger kid who's crying at Starbucks because he's working while going to school. Hey, Kay, good to see a fellow bartender. And they schedule him 25 hours a week, including over an 8.5-hour shift every Saturday and Sunday. And the kid's literally in tears. I didn't go at the kid too hard. I made a couple lighthearted jokes. I don't like slamming these kids. It kind of feels like punching down, and whatever it is that makes them do what they do, I'm not here to make fun of them, but I am here to relate our experiences to theirs. And my experience was listen, we didn't cry at work. I had bosses that brutalized me as a kid. That the one I speak of in the video literally threatened us with physical harm if we didn't get moving. And then bar backing, every bartender I ever bar backed for was just pushing you harder and harder, faster and faster. Go get ice, go get cases, go change this keg. There was no time for being nice. It was rough. And I say in the video that I'm grateful for it in the captions. Life needs callous, right? If we go into life with soft hands, we're screwed. And those bosses we had early on in life that really just came at us hard, we might have like turned around and say, it's F you, and Mr. Gallo's a jerk, Mr. Alteri's being mean. We may have said those things, but at the end of the day, now I'm so grateful for it. It taught me something. Number one, it gave me those calluses that I needed, because it taught me that, you know what? What's the worst thing? It's okay, the old man's being tough on me. So be it. Whatever. I move a little faster. I get out of his line of sight. I learn to get out of his crosshairs. And that's an important lesson to learn. We learn to get out of our boss's crosshairs. Andrew, thank you so much. Andrew's mentioning that he bought one of my Gen X shirts. I will say that through midnight tonight, they are like 35% off. If you've been eyeing a shirt design, if you've been thinking about a mug, if you wanted something as little as a sticker or a magnet or a phone case, the link is published on my Facebook page. It's in my YouTube bio. You can get a link directly from genxjono.com in any way, shape, or form. If you want a shirt, this is the weekend to do it. Just because instead of like $22 a shirt, TeePublic's knocked them down to like 16. So I would say if there's something you've been looking at, now's the time to do it. There's no crying. There's no crying in, somebody wrote work. I actually put that in the video. Where do you get them? You can go to genxjono.dashery.com. Is in haberdashery, I guess. genxjono.dashery.com. There should be a pinned, like, you can go to my link tree right in any bio and get there too. Sheila, hi, good to see you. Celebrating 11 months as a subscriber over on YouTube, Gen X Avengers. Thank you for that. Time to lean is time to clean was an annoying motto. Oh my God. And I had Greek parents. Yeah, we do ship to the UK. They ship internationally. They do a really nice job with it. If you have questions on that, there is a, within the Dashery website, there's a section where you can do frequently asked questions, and they talk about shipping. But they ship all the way out to, I've had somebody tell me they did a great job shipping out to New Zealand even. People born in 83, millennial or zennial, Ty, that's up to you. I don't like being labeled. That's something that as we grew up, we as Gen Xers, I think our generation said, don't put me in a box. So if you relate, then welcome. Technically, sociologists would tell you that's millennial. And then someone created that micro gen, just a little bit more specific with Zennial, which probably fits better for you. Some Zennial stuff you relate to, some X stuff. Crying where there wasn't a server crying. To pretend that our generation never cried is and I hate to put it on gender, but listen, it was the girls for the most part, right? And I truly remember so many, not saying that girls cry easier, but I'm just saying in my memory, I remember more female servers crying than males, not exclusively, but especially new servers. Dude, there wasn't a busy weekend where there wasn't some new server in some corner of the restaurant crying their eyes out. And it usually wasn't because a manager went at them. It's because a customer went at them, or because they dropped an entire tray of food, or because they did that thing that if you've been a server, we've all done it, where you go to the kitchen and you are hot because it's been 30 minutes and you don't see your food up anywhere. So then you start scanning tickets to see where you are in the rotation. And you realize that it is you, not the kitchen, that screwed up because you never, ever put the order in. And then you've got to beg for the kitchen to move your order up. But I mean, that's it. It's okay. What we didn't do is have access to punched it out on the internet for the whole world to see. We cried and expressed our shame privately. These kids have no problem putting it out there for the whole world to see. Dude, if you're going to cry at Starbucks because you're working 2 shifts on Saturday and Sunday, do it quietly. Don't put it out there for everyone to see, because not everyone's going to be as nice as I am. The kid's going to get brutalized. What's going on, Eddie Pickle? Good to see you. Deborah Mott says, I cried, but never in front of anyone. And again, ML Zabranda says, we bawled our asses off. Of course we did, but not like this. Lauren says, I've been that table. Dude, I can't tell you how many times. Then you go back to the table. Um, Melissa says, I never film myself crying. Why would we? I've thrown the entire kitchen under the bus so hard whenever I screw up like that. I've set the kitchen on fire, figuratively speaking. I'll go to the table and I'm like, guys, I am so sorry. We just had a small fire in the kitchen. It took everything we had to put it out before the Ansel system went off. And now they're just doing cleanup. I promise you, your order is next. I can't be apologetic enough. And then they bought it. Customers bought it. Rhonda says, I like your videos. I remember when I was a kid slide in the back with no seatbelts. Dude, absolutely. We all went sliding in the back of that car on the big bench seats. All I got to say, Cindy says, is suck it up, Buttercup. Deborah says the walk-in freezer muffled the sounds of the crying. What's going on, Peter Alley? Andrew says, my wife watched the Never Ending Story today and cried. Oh, dude, absolutely brutal. First time, huh? They might be remaking that. And if they do, I find it very hard to believe that our tax will suffer the same fate. I think that's why we're so tough. Got your asses chewed out. Learn not to, do whatever you got yelled at for again, or at least not get caught. Dude, been a long minute. I almost died. Jeremy, hope you're doing better, dude. It's all right, Tammy. But yeah, we learned to either not do that thing that we got yelled at for doing, or we learned to not get caught doing that thing we got yelled at for doing, or let's be honest, plenty of times we did it again, we got caught again, and we got yelled at again, but we just learned to take our lumps. My aunt had an old car with a hole in the rear floorboard. I had a Simpsons car, put my feet right through the bottom. Wirehead says, had a server walk up to me once at RPM with a bloody nose because a girl at a table was so mad about her order that she freaked out and punched him in the face. He cried a little bit, but that was okay. Dude, that's a story. Kids today are allergic to accountability. I don't know. They don't have the tolerance built up to it that we did. And then again, everybody is the person that they are because of the life that they lived. So if kids today are soft, or if they're different than we are, it's because the life they lived has made them this way. But here's the deal, and I say it all the time. It doesn't have to be up to us to correct it. If they are soft, life will make them hard, because I don't care how gentle their parents were. I don't care how much love and affirmation they received. I don't care how careful their parents were about avoiding things that trigger them. The world won't be that kind. And I'm not saying that being mean. I'm not saying that I'm glad that's the way it is. I'm not saying that that's the way it should be. I'm saying that at the end of the day, we all learned it early and often that life's not fair. So, hey, Sam, what's going on, brother? 1:30 a.m. Thank you for popping in. Life will teach them. That's all. What's going on, Cody? Stace says we grew up with sarcasm. They made us tough. Yeah, among other things. What's going on, Val? Working in front of the public is harder than people think it is. Serving I've done a lot of things in my life. I did a video where I counted the jobs I had. And I'm not talking jobs. I'm talking like the different people I've worked for over the past 42 years or so. And I got up to like 26. And after I'd finished the video, I realized I'd left out like 3 or 4. It was a lot. And I bounced around a lot. In banking, it's fairly common because that's how what's going on, Jeffrey? At least for me, that's how I got raises. If I stayed with Chase, then year in and year out, I could expect about a 2% raise. But to jump to another bank, you generally would get a promotion and a raise that way. So I jumped around more than I should have, maybe. But at the end of the day, all those jobs, serving is what taught me the most. Because I learned to juggle 15 things at a time. I realized that no matter who doesn't show up, then the work needs to be done. Kitchen's not showing up. Dishwasher didn't show up. The floor is short service. Doesn't matter. You got to take extra table. You got to get it done. Customers. So many different types of customers. Then you learn to deal with them. Both my kids, my oldest daughter, I made sure was a server. The youngest one's only 13, but when her time comes, I want her to be a server. Lisa says every 5 years, banker kids. Yeah, I've moved about every 5 years. That's fair. It's the only way to get your income up. Keep telling my son that his boss isn't going to put up with the shit with his mom and let him get away with it. It's absolutely true. Life doesn't put up with it. Life happens, dude, and it's wonderful and it's amazing and it's beautiful, but it's also hard as hell and completely and totally unforgiving. I think everyone should work in the service industry. Humble is a beautiful word for it because serving people is a humbling experience. ML talks about the military. That is as well, because when you have somebody that can tell you what to do, when to do, how to do it, that's tough. Dale, thank you for the stars. Donovan, thank you for following. Andy, thank you for following. Guys, also, if you see a thing on Facebook talking about a subscriber goal, I just saw somebody became a subscriber. We're at 226 right now, trying to get to 250. That just means that you're willing to part with 99 cents a month. And the cool thing about that is you gain access to our Facebook private subscriber group where y'all are in charge. You guys post stuff and I comment on it, and sometimes I share to it. But a lot of times that's where I get the stuff that I share with the broader audience because people in that group are pretty damn cool. Thank you, Debbie. I appreciate that. Drive-through is worse than front counter. I could see that, but the thing about drive-through, I mean, what's difficult about serving is there's no hiding. You can't hide. At some point you can try, but you have to go face that table. And no matter how bad you screw up, at the end of the day, nothing will teach accountability like that. Sheila says, we love our group, would love to have all of you. Basri, thank you for subbing. Wirehead says, I worked as a bouncer for a long time. That was my side of the bar service. We always had the kind of bars that, for the most part, we were the bouncer and the bartender. And thankfully, if you guys remember fights in the 80s, things were, is like everything else being different, fights in bars in the 80s was different. It was kind of like the 3 o'clock high bar version of the playground fight. Generally speaking, it was fair fights. It was two fists and a lot of attitude. It's my own version of OnlyFans. Sure, ML, that works. Which explains why it's only 99 cents a month. But the cool thing about it is that is every single one of those times I had to step out from behind the bar to deal with somebody, the crowd had my back. We always had friends in the bar that had our back. You'd have to be pretty stupid to take on a bartender at a neighborhood bar because there's probably 20 or 30 people that are not going to allow anything to happen. Having a storm right now, single going in and out, but I'm here. Good to have you, Susan. How you doing, Mr. Blackstar? Payless shoes during Easter BOGO was not for the weak at heart. I worked retail too. I worked at a place like Service Merchandise, except I worked in the camera electronics department. So I've done retail as well. I love the drive-through and banking. Yeah, that was always fun, Corey. We got to use the little tubes, which was cool, which I also used at Dahlkemper's, which, as I mentioned, was like a Service Merchandise. Do I remember the Faces of Death movies? Absolutely. Sheila Buck, thank you for the party hat. Yes, I was born in 1970. Is 1980 considered Gen X or no? It is the youngest of us Gen Xers, so it is absolutely Gen X. 65 to 1980 is the sociologically correct definition of Generation X. Being a server makes you strong, makes you know how life is, and it's profitable. Listen, if I'm going to work hard, I want to get paid. And that's the thing about retail that I didn't like unless there was commissions involved. To Tammy's point, the money can't be beat. Yeah, we work really hard. But at the end of the day, we usually go home with cash in our pocket. Brenda says retail by day, bartending by night. I've been there. Well, then the other cool thing is one of my followers came across, this somewhere and sent it to me, which is how I got on the whole job thing. If you guys can see that. Sports City Grill with Jim Kelly's signature. Probably one of my favorite jobs as a kid. This was literally, it could have been mine. I wore a large. There's likelihood that this is my work shirt, but this would take me back to 1994, 93, 22 or 23-year-old me working for Jim Kelly at his Sports City Grill. And what an amazing job to see the different Buffalo Bills, Thurman Thomas, Cornelius Bennett, Bruce Smith, Darryl Talley, Steve Tasker, Andre Reed, Don Beebe. The list goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on, and I met them all. Tammy says, I make more money serving than any job I ever had. Fought at Impact. Somebody sucker punched me. Matthew, thank you so much for the donation. Gen X on my way. Canada reporting in. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, buddy. Brian Coon's having a birthday on Thursday. How old, Brian? Looks like we jumped on Facebook. We're at 226 or 227 on the subscriber goal. Less than 25 to go. Double in the sleeve. Don't know what that means. Front counter at Whataburger had its moments. It's just the coolest thing, and I won't belabor this point, but the coolest thing is when you think nothing can get any worse, right? Kitchen's behind, you've lost an order, you dropped a tray of food, you got triple sat, you don't know what you're doing, you're behind on drink orders, everything is literally figuratively falling apart. And yet you keep going, and you realize that at some point, the doors get locked, the lights come up, and it's over. And that's an amazing lesson to learn. And I think we learned it a lot as kids in a lot of different ways. But the lesson learned is no matter how bad it is, you don't get to go to the back room and cry. Or if you do, get it over with quickly because there's no time for that. I think a lot of us learned that lesson. A lot of us, our parents, threw that at us. Don't cry or I'll give you something to actually cry about. I hate to belabor that point, but it was truly, no matter how bad things get, keep going. Figure it out, make it work, rub some dirt on it, walk it off. Help's not coming. I guess that's the point. Help is not coming. Our parents weren't going to bail us out for the most part. The teacher wasn't going to do the work for us. Help's not coming. So figure it out. And I think today, I can only speak for myself. I was help. I helped my kids, and I don't regret it. Andy, thank you for following. Donovan, thank you for following. I don't regret providing that help, but I provided help a lot more than my parents ever did. To Wirehead's point, I was the cavalry. My oldest daughter had a problem with the teacher. I scheduled a conference to talk it out with the teacher. If she was having trouble with her homework, I sat down and helped her with her homework. If she called me and said, Dad, I have a project due tomorrow, and she had not yet started on it, I was running to Walmart to pick up the crap to help her do her thing. With my younger daughter, I'm not being as jumpy in. I'm taking a step back a little bit more because I overcorrected. But it is what it is. We didn't have the help. No cavalry was on the way. That makes sense? Thank you, Gabriel. I appreciate that. We were the tip of the spear. There sure wasn't any cavalry. No, and listen, that's not, we're not being overly gentle when we help our kids, but sometimes not helping them is the help they need. And the trick is to figure it out. I don't think our parents got it right, mind you. And I don't think it was intentional. Not much my parents did, except maybe the beatings were intentional. They were just too busy. They worked really, really hard, and they loved me a whole hell of a lot. But they didn't intentionally do much. It was figure it out just like we figured it out. We're a different generation of parents, for better or for worse. Our arms and legs were painted on. Get it yourself. I liked your video on first jobs. I was a pin boy at a bowling alley. That's a cool job. 1982 is a millennial. Whoever asked that could also be a zennial. 7 p.m. Dad, I have a school project due tomorrow. I need all 10 of these model things right now. Dude, and I ran. My wife told me don't do it. Let her fail. Forget it. Don't do it. But I didn't have it in me. I wanted my kid to learn a lesson. That lesson is when things get tough, Dad's here. You know? And at some point, I backed off a little bit. And with the younger one, I've definitely moderated it a little bit. Gabriel, thank you so much for the stars. Guys, I appreciate it. I appreciate so much the fact that you guys support the page. It means everything to me. And it makes things like this coming weekend possible, where I will be traveling to Dallas. For any of you that are in the area or just want to watch streaming live, I will stream the Back to the Future 40th anniversary live. I'll make content around it. I'll be there with Gina Scott Williams making content. We're going to hopefully get a chance to meet Michael J. Fox and the crew from Back to the Future. Dirk Benedict and Mr. T from the A-Team. The list goes on and on and on. If you're in Dallas, Fan Expo, check it out. The amount of people that are going to be there is incredible. My dad was a Chicago cop. FAFO was his service belt. Told me when I got my first tattoo that that's how they identify bodies. Am I doing 3-View Mirror tomorrow? We are. 3-View Mirror will go live on YouTube at 9 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. My oldest daughter will try to get you to do stuff for her, and you have to put a hard stop to it. Well, good for her. You know, that's the point, right? She's smart enough to try to get you to do it. You have to be smart enough not to do it. Thank you, Joan. I'll let her know you said that. Shannon says, if I can give you an infinite amount of stars, I would. Guys, I appreciate it so much. And I see we just jumped up to 227 subscribers. I appreciate everything. That's one of my favorite things because it's a small amount of money by any measure, 99 cents over a month. But I like that it gives you guys a way to interact together. The friendships that are made in that group is kind of cool. It just reminds me of AOL. It's almost like an old school AOL chat room, the way people just go back and forth and comment on each other's posts, stuff like that. Joey says, Face, how cool. Yeah, I'm psyched to meet him. Where will I be in the Big D, Tina? It is the convention center downtown is where they're having it. I'll be there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and we might try to find a bar Saturday night to head out to after the convention. We'll see how that goes. So I'm excited. Born 1970, graduated 1988. So did I. That's me exactly. Andrew Bradford says we'll be doing a TikTok video. I know you're a big Jaws fan, dude. 50th anniversary coming up this June. Christina says, jack of all trades, master of none, and then lists so many different jobs. That was me. And not everyone has that experience. I know our parents' generation was one and done, right? They got a job. That job provided them their benefits, provided them their pension, provided them their retirement. Done. We bounced around a lot more. The other reason I bounced around too is not only for a pay increase, but we went through so many different economic just disasters after 9/11, market crashes left and right. That sometimes you had to make a move in order to get your income to go back up. And sometimes it's because stuff happened and it gave me access to a 401k that I could cash out. Gabriel, thank you again. Mary Jo, thank you for being a follower. It was like chapters in the journey. My dad was a civil engineer. Every 2 years, the project was finished, moved to another state. We moved a lot, says Wirehead, when I was a kid. 6 elementary schools. Val says there are no more life jobs. No, and I think at some point, the one thing the kids kind of got right, I'll lightly make fun of kids' work ethic or perhaps a lack of it in some instances. But the one thing the kids got right is that the employer, 9 times out of 10, maybe even 10 times out of 10, dude, they don't, you're replaceable. You're gone. A week later, somebody else is in your spot. It's like you were never there. So don't elevate your employer beyond the status of what they're worthy of. What your employer gives to you is a paycheck. What you give to them is work. That's the beginning and the end of that relationship. You stop working, they stop paying. They stop paying, we stop working. So I really, that's one thing I tell my kids. Vern, thank you for the stars. Don't get overly attached to an employer, especially if it's corporate, because 9 times out of 10, as I said, sadly, they don't care. The corporation doesn't care. Carrie from California, hello. Kristen says, I've moved over 35 times. That's insane. I moved a bunch, but it's basically wasn't big moves. I moved from Rochester to the small town I grew up in. From there, we moved within town once. Then I went to school in Buffalo, so I moved there. Lived in New York City for a little bit, Yonkers, Bronxville for a short amount of time. When it comes to employers, Mike says you're family until you're not. So true. And then there's exceptions. My parents, as restaurant owners, all the servers became family to us. I remember my dad, raised in Gates, Jeanette, we lived in Chilai for a little bit from 2005 till 2015, right off of Paul Road. Um, every employee is expendable. I remember we had a server that didn't have enough money to pay for new glasses. Her glasses broke and they had like tape on the side. And my dad saw it and told me, hold on, you grill for a while. I took over the grill. He disappeared. He came back. The glasses were fixed. So I think there's some private employers that are different. Noel says 12 times moving over it. Hey, John, relationships were like playing the lotto. Some kids didn't fare with their parents and fell off the bandwagon. Yeah, I mean, there's truth to that. All relationships are what they are. Jeanette says, OMG, Brockport, not far from me at all from where I was. Marie says, I only had 4 jobs, 2 in retail, and then I went to become an x-ray tech. Now, so there's jobs and there's employers. You can have multiple employers within the same jobs, yay? GD, born in Rochester, moved to Charlotte or Charlotte? Did you stay in Rochester, Charlotte, or did you come to Charlotte? I was born in Rochester. I moved to Charlotte in 2016. But there's also a Charlotte outside of Rochester spelled the same way. Another video I posted today showed the top 30 songs in 1983. Dude, I could sit there and watch videos. I want MTV back. I will put like Friday night video playlists on my phone and just go to sleep watching them. I'll put MTV playlists on my phone. I'll find something that did Headbangers Ball or, The Alternative or, just different stuff and just sit there. Is that a South Carolina license plate on my wall? It is a mock-up of a South Carolina license plate. Where are you watching? Oh, right there. With Gen X Jono on it. My best friend got that for me. So yeah, it's a South Carolina plate mock-up. But I was watching all 30 of those, and it's only 6 seconds per song, because any more than that and I get slammed. But as it clips from song to song, it's not just different music, it's a different feeling. It's a different vibe. It's a different, dude, I don't know the word for it, but the 80s more so, the 90s too a bit, the 70s, I guess every generation, every decade has its feeling, but more than a feeling, the 80s had an energy about it. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But the energy was so different back in the 80s. And you could see that energy expressed in what people were wearing. I love watching like the clips from the Grammys and just watching like the clothing and the hairstyles and the makeup. And it was all just about fun and expression. And everybody did their own thing. And nobody was judging anything. And for a generation that some of the kids say we're not as accepting as we should be, dude, we accepted anything and everything. We didn't make a big deal out of it. It just was that's it. But you watch the crowd and everybody's different. You've got your people that are playing it super straight-laced, and then you've got Bjork wearing a swan over her head, and then you've got Boy George over here, and Prince, and Michael Jackson, and Lionel Richie, and Huey Lewis, and everybody had a different vibe, and it was all okay. I miss that. Today, it seems to be more performative. Like, there's thoughts. It's just like everything is for a purpose. It's to pretend to push out this vibe. I don't know. It felt more organic back then, I think. Wondering how many cans of Aquanet to do those hairstyles. God only knows. I remember when MTV's TRL forced Tom Green to retire the Bum Bum song because they were tired of it coming in #1 every week. There was also like a Motley Crue rule, I think. I think it was Crue that they ended up doing something because it just was staying on too long. Now music is more clicky. The difference with music now is that it's not as eclectic. Scientifically speaking, there have been studies showing just how different music was versus how different music is now. And songs today tend to hit the top 40 when they fall into certain molds. I miss the simplicity of the 80s. My nephews, ages 8 and 9, are afraid to walk outside. We're taking them to Letchworth. That should be fun. Sort of. You know what I just started watching again? You guys are going to laugh at me. So when I was a kid, getting so nostalgic in my middle-aged years, my mom used to love the Waltons because it reminded her of a simpler time. My mom was born in the 1940s. My dad was born in the late 1920s. So the show The Waltons, for those that aren't aware of it, follows this family in 1933 till about 1942, I think. So through the Depression. And I hated it as a kid. When I heard that music playing, I was done. I'm like, I'm out. It's too late to go outside. Fine, I'll go to my room. I'll read. I'll do homework. I'll watch Chips on my 13-inch black and white Emerson in my room. I don't know. I'll do something. I couldn't get away from the TV fast enough when the damn Waltons were on. But I'm on to episode 4, and it just, I don't know, man. It reminds me. I hear that music and Goodnight John Boy and the simplicity of it. But here's what killed me: is I did the math, which I never should do. And the Waltons started in 1972. I probably was watching it in 1976, 7 years old, 1977. So 1977 to 1937, 40 years. So when we were growing up in the 70s and the Waltons came on, and we forced to watch this old-timey show with the old-timey cars and the kids running around barefoot and nobody having shoes and grandpa and grandma, and it was so old-timey, that would be kids today watching something from the early 1980s. Our childhood to kids today is the Waltons. Is the 1930s. Hey, Kathy, the math doesn't work for me. The vibe doesn't work for me. It doesn't pass the feeling check. It doesn't feel like that. I can't imagine that kids look at the 80s like we looked at the 30s. I just don't see how that's possible. Because we still had stuff. We had Walkman. We had tape decks and TRS-80 computers. I don't know. It's crazy to think about, Jen. I agree. I'd love to see if the kids. It's kind of hard to get a feel on it though, because there's no way to gauge that. The kids today look at the 30s, rightly so, like it was 100 years ago, because it almost was. But I'm not sure what they think. 80s was better than the 30s. Well, yeah. But still, the 30s was much more primitive than the 80s. True, but today is much more advanced than the 80s as well. So I'm wondering, does that shift represent to kids the same sort of dynamic change in what's available? I don't know. James Grinnell, I agree. Hated Lawrence Welk as well. Yeah, Grandma had a stroke. I'm not there yet. Spoiler alert, you're going to ruin it for me. Jill Johnson coming in from the 716. How are you doing from Buffalo? I should be out your way. Hopefully August or September. Watched a lot of Benny Hill at my grandfather's house. I love it. My kids who are younger than me love things from the 80s. That's the thing, I guess. I don't remember anybody loving anything from the 30s when we were growing up, so I guess that's different. Happy Days came on the air in the 70s and took place in the 50s. 70s show came on and took its place, right? So in the 90s, we watched the 70s show. So today, a Happy Days-like show or a 70s-like show would be 2005, right? To get the nostalgia of the 50s and the 70s, or the nostalgia of the 70s and the 90s, today that nostalgic show would take place in 2005. Yeah, I like it too, Jen. Coming to Chicagoland anytime. I meant to for C2E. It didn't work out. Next year, I'll definitely be in Chicago. That's one of the places I'm not missing. Grandma and Grandpa Walton were both gay in real life. I just heard that today, Greg. Good little piece of trivia. Southeastern, $10. Dude, thank you so much. Did we ever find out what happened to Richie and Joni Cunningham's older brother, Chuck? Does anybody remember that? Does anybody know what Southeastern's talking about over on YouTube? So when Happy Days first started, the first season, there were actually 2 different actors that played the part of Joni and Richie's older brother, Chuck. who always had a basketball in his hand, and they just wrote him out. That was a common thing sort of back then, where characters would just not work out. So they would was that not the joke necessarily, but I remember the rumor when I was a kid that was like 8, 9 years old and didn't know any better. The rumor that went around was that Robin said he went to Korea. I heard that that was the rumor, right? That he got drafted and went to Korea at that point in time. What I remember hearing was that the actor was drafted and went to Vietnam, and that's why he was gone. But in truth, he just got written out. But a lot of us talked about that. I think that's the most Gen X thing ever, to be watching something like that and having somebody just disappear and never to return. Andrew says, love those shows. If you have the Friendly app, you can MeTV and MeTV Plus to watch that. I've got what they call a VC box, VSEE, and I watch a ton of classic stuff on it. 20 years since I graduated from high school this year. Congratulations, Rue. It's going to be a lot longer than that for me. Is Tommy still working on the docks? Last I heard. 2 Beckys on Roseanne, which on the reboot I thought was kind of funny. They kept swapping them in and out. Not my real name says, love your channel. Dude, thank you. Kristen says they have a cream now for VC. Okay. Johnny Carson was bedtime. Content was considered adult content. David says, I work with some Gen Z. I recently brought up Happy Days. They were unaware of it, but they did know of the Andy Griffith Show. Martin asks what state I'm in. I'm currently in South Carolina. I can spit to North Carolina from where I'm at, and I'm about 20 minutes south of Charlotte. Loved Man from Atlantis, Travis. Although I heard it permanently messed up Patrick Duffy's feet. The webbing that they had to place in between his toes to make it look like whatever they wanted it to look forever ruined his feet, I guess. Bevy of beverages behind me. Mad Dog. Oh, yeah, there's every flavor. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 flavors. I've got Everclear and another Mad Dog up there. 77 Gen X are sending love. Donna's little sister Tina was written out of the 70s show. Yes. And I mean, even other instances more recent. What was the one? King of Queens. The wife, Lisa Remini, had a younger sister that they completely wrote out. Tammy says 35th class reunion is next month. I've got Technicolor toilet bowl blend behind me. Don't know what that means. Oh, gotcha. I do know what that means. Yeah, I can mix it all together. Good point. And then that's what will definitely be hitting the toilet bowl if I drink it all. Didn't the actress who played the foreman's sister die? If she did, I didn't know that. Hey, what's going on, James Halpin? Good to see you. Liz brings up Purple Passion. Wonder Woman's little sister was Deborah Ringer. Yeah, Deborah Winger played the part of Wonder Girl twice. 2-episode arc, different times when she came in. Well, better late than never, my friend. I don't know why the notification failed, but we're glad to have you. Leah Remini, yes, thank you for the correction. Saw your reel today where you showed the HBO feature presentation. Gave me chills. I love to mix in sound, sight and sound in some videos. Like, I've got a lot of different verticals. There's videos where I talk. How often do I go live, Jeanette? About 3 times a week. Every Sunday, though, at 8 p.m. Eastern is a gimme. Wonderful World of Generation X. This is the one that I'm always live. What's my favorite toy behind me? Probably over here. My Millennium Falcon is probably my favorite. But Colonel Steve Austin, the $6 Million Man, and the Bionic Woman are probably close seconds. Rubik's Cube, if I could figure out how to do the damn thing, would be pretty cool, but I can't. Katie mentions going live with my 2 friends. That's every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Anybody remember the $6 Million Man Bigfoot episode? Absolutely. He was actually an alien robot. Love those shows. My husband says I'm not a Gen Xer, but I was born in 1980. That makes you a Gen Xer. 1965 to 1980. You are technically, absolutely card-carrying member of Generation X. Can we just mention the Rainbow Connection for a second? That was awesome. One of my favorite videos is singing along with Kermit to that. Now, that song always hits me real hard. I love it. What about Evel Knievel? I am always on the lookout for that toy. If I find it, I'm buying it. Hello from the 585. Rochester's in the house. Still 585 phone number myself. Singing along every time I hear the song. Me too. Sheila goes, if any of you guys haven't seen the Millennium Falcon video, go look it up. And that's like, if you guys ever want to see if I've done a video on something, YouTube and Facebook are getting really good, as is TikTok, at pushing out SEO, search engine optimization. If you search Millennium Falcon and Gen X Jono, you'll probably see the video. If you're wondering if I did a video on the day after or anything like that, just search it with Gen X Jono, and odds are it'll come up under videos. Wirehead says, I got jealous when I watched the Millennium Falcon video. Yeah, SOL? No, I meant to say SEO. Joey says, I'll send you mine. What, your Millennium Falcon? 1980, you are grandfathered into Gen X. Stretch Armstrong's another one I need. That's a tough one to get, though, because the corn syrup hey, what's going on, Stacy? The corn syrup I am sure highly carcinogenic stuff that was in Stretch Armstrong gets hard over time. That, and we all knifed him like a stuck pig. So I don't know that there's that many of him left out there. Jabberjaws. Need some lawn darts. That would work. ML says, I still have my 1980 Series 1 Empire Strikes Back top cards. Cool. My other half still has her large Star Wars figures. I had the Luke Skywalker with grappling hook large action figure, and I also had Darth Vader. I remember Mr. Bill Liz. eBay has Stretch Armstrong. I like to pick them up in person. Not to say that I don't trust people, but I don't trust people. And things like that, it's really, really, like I said, it's tough. It's tough to make sure that it is exactly what I want. Stretch to stretch. I don't want to own him if he doesn't stretch. Conjunction Junction, what's your function? One of the t-shirts that's on sale. Just saying. genxjono.dashery.com for the next couple hours. Still on sale. There's I'm Just a Bill that's doing really well. I got to make a Mr. Bill t-shirt. That's a good call, Karen. But I'm Just a Bill is there, as is Conjunction Junction Engineer. Micronauts greatly underappreciated. Tina says, I collect metal vintage lunchboxes. That's cool. I had, I had a Super Friends lunchbox that I remember, and I had a $6 Million Man lunchbox, and I don't know if those are the only two I had or the only two I remember. Carrie, I'm just down the road from you. Fort Mill, Indian Land here. My mother made me give away all my Star Wars toys because they're boy toys. I mean, isn't that crazy? But yeah, I listen. I always wanted the $6 Million Man and the Bionic Woman toy, which you can't see them on Facebook. But I remember I was no way was I going to get the Bionic Woman one, even though they played great together, because that would have been considered a doll. Muppet Show lunchbox, Partridge Family lunchbox, pretty cool. Star Wars. I don't know if I'm surprised I didn't have Star Wars. Scooby-Doo lunchbox. Can I do a t-shirt for Verb in Action? Probably. I already have 2 of the Schoolhouse Rock. I should do more. I should do something with Mr. Bill and Schoolhouse Rock Bill. Holly Hobby lunchbox. I do have a Regal Beagle t-shirt on there, I think. I think you need Gem and the holograms. God, I'd forgotten about them. No Scrappy Doo. Absolutely not. SST Racers. I love them. Hey, Dave. Good to see you coming in, brother. Charlie's Angels lunchbox. Trying to think if I had any others. I see Snoopy. I see Bay City Rollers. Spud McKenzie. No way. Can I pin the website? I don't know that I can. But it's the website is GenXJono, GenXJono .dashery, DASHERY.com. It's in my, if you go from YouTube, if you go to the About Me section of the thing, there's a link tree there. It'll show it. 1976 Marvel Superheroes Lunchbox. That would have been cool. Scrappy completely ruined Scooby-Doo. I hated the little bastard. I might have had a Dukes of Hazzard lunchbox, Brian. That sounds familiar. I just fell down a rabbit hole with the Dukes of Hazzard. I was trying to find a Dukes of Hazzard family tree because I was so confused by how big this family must have been because they're basically all cousins, right? Luke and Bo and Daisy are all cousins, neither of which is of the same family. So Bo had a set of parents, Luke had a set of parents, Daisy had a set of parents. And then Vance and Coy show up, and they've each got their own set of parents. So that brings us to 5 sets of parents. And then there were at least 2 episodes that featured other Dukes, one which was Luke's younger brother, so that doesn't increase anything, but one that was unrelated and had his own set of parents. So that was 6 sets of parents, but at one time or another, everybody ended up living with the guy whose only job we can figure was running moonshine and had no kids of his own. Never understood that, but it's okay. I hated Scrappy. He ruined everything. Scrappy-Doo was the Oliver from the Brady Bunch cartoon version for Scooby-Doo. I have 7 uncles and 2 aunts from the same grandparents. Right, but you still live with your parents. What got me was, what happened to all these parents? What happened to Bo's parents and Luke's parents and Daisy's parents and later Coy's parents and Vance's parents that they all end up living with Uncle Jesse running moonshine? Just, I don't know. I thought that was a little bit weird. Coy and Vance always said Bo and Luke's brothers. Match them with the hair. They actually weren't. A lot of people thought that, but no, Vance and Coy were like the Wish version of Bo and Luke, but they were cousins, not brothers. I looked it up. Eddie, what's going on, brother? Eddie Nowak, dude, one of my oldest friends. Went to school with Eddie. Good to see you, brother, over on Facebook. Eddie and I were our friends going all the way back to high school and middle school. Eddie, I always joke, and when I talk about you, Eddie, I'm like, I've known you so long that I was friends with Eddie Hall before I was friends with Eddie Nowak. Good to see you, brother. I had a coworker who had 18 siblings, her poor mother. The Duke clan were definitely a Southern group. Again, the thing that gets me isn't that they're a big family. It's that they all decided to ditch their parents, or their parents all met unfortunate ends to go live with, as somebody just said, the cool uncle, Uncle Jesse. It is in Hazard County, Georgia. Maybe Uncle Jesse's the only one that had a good head on his shoulders. Could be. On the Jetson, who was that annoying ball that sprung around? That I don't remember. Class president. Dude. Long time ago. Tammy goes, my daughter Casey just died laughing when you called Scrappy-Doo a little bastard. Scooby-Dur? No, I don't remember Scooby-Dur. I can barely say it. Like those tongue twisters you all had me doing. Dude, that one tongue twister video, the one with one sock cutter, he cut socks, that's pushing 2 million views right now. And I've gotten real good at saying it. But actually, well, the funny thing is, if you follow Sherry Dindal, if you follow Carmen or Jeffrey Thomas or Gen X Gina or Gen X Shell or any number of different Gen X creators, we are working on a collaboration video where we're all taking little pieces of tongue twisters and we're going to put it all together, and it's going to be all of us in there. So that should be fun. Now they're saying Scooby-Doo. I did a video on that, Kevin. Scooby never said Rutrow. There was one episode where he almost said it, but it wasn't. Rutrow was Astro. It's just we all think. And what's funny is Scooby-Doo has merch. If you look at official Scooby-Doo merchandise that's come out, there are versions of it that have the whole Rutrow thing. But Rutrow was Rutrow Rorge. It was Astro. And I mean, it shocked me too. And I had people, when I put that video out, that were like, no, it was Scooby-Doo. And it wasn't. Prove me wrong. One episode, he almost says it, but it's not the thing everybody thought it was. Astro routinely said Rutrow. Rutrow, Rorge. It's like that. In season 1, Scooby-Doo did say it a few times. Once and only once that I could find at JTR. As he's falling down in one. I mean, I really fell down a rabbit hole on this one. He did say Raggy. Picture pages. I loved picture pages. Why wasn't Luke's younger brother living with Uncle Jesse? God only knows. Roy. Astro time traveled and changed breeds. How about the picture that's going around right now that I did a copy of that shows Barney Rubble turning into Captain Caveman? Have y'all seen that? The similarities, it must be the same artist because it's there. Yeah, Dave, all of us are going to do different tongue twisters. I told them all to pick one, preferably one that's going to have them saying something horribly inappropriate unintentionally and go from there. But I got pretty good at the one sock cutter, he cut socks. 2 sock cutters, they cut socks. 3 sock cutters, they cut socks. 4 sock cutters, they cut socks. 5 sock cutters, they cut socks. 6 sock cutters, they cut socks. That one I got. Thank you, Jen. Anybody else turn into an introvert because society sucks? No way. They're not going to get me down. My daughter Kay said she's going to start following you now because you're funny and you're the first person to say her name right. I appreciate that. I love when I get younger people following. YouTube, I've got a fairly decent contingent of younger people. And I think it's because I try not to... Listen, whenever I make fun of Gen Z, for instance, I think I almost always say that I think it is a very loud minority with access to a camera that makes them all look stupid. I work with a lot of kids. Casey will see a lot of videos with young kids that I work with. And although I highlight the fact that they don't know money... none of them were able to tell me how many nickels there are in a dollar. If you haven't seen that video, it'll make your eyes and ears bleed. But they know what they were taught. So that's not their fault. It just highlights what the world doesn't think is important for them to know. Because whereas we had money beaten into our brains in grade school, any hold your tongue twisters? I don't know what that is, Cassandra. Thank you for popping in, Kimberly. Yeah, I have a hoverboard. My buddy JC made that for me. Oh, I should take that to get it signed this weekend. Good call. I would have forgotten it. I'm going to get Michael J. Fox to sign that for me. Dude, that's a good call. I never would have thought of that. Look, a wagon wheel. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? We also, what else did we have? We had Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair. I love the sock cut flubs. Yeah, I can do it now. Got to get the sneakers for it. Yeah, Raggy, I heard him say a couple times. Rubby Bubby. You know what? Rubby Baby Buggy bumpers? Is that what it is? The toy boat one? The toy boat one got me. I couldn't do that one at all. Toy boat, toy boat, toy boat, toy boat, toy boat, toy boat, toy boat. I thought I'm having a stroke. Joanne, I get that, but what kills me is I get that they use debit cards, but once I explained to them that a nickel's 5 cents, then the fact that they couldn't get from that information to 20 times 5 is 100, it's not there. And I have discussions with them. They don't, if I say to every single person in this room, what is 8 times 7, you will all shoot back 56 at me so quickly. 3 times 3, 8 times 9, 5. It doesn't matter. It's memorized. It's muscle memory. We memorized math facts while a third grade teacher had a stopwatch in his hand, and it felt like it was his duty to call us out on being stupid if we couldn't fill the chart out fast enough. We were literally humiliated into memorizing our math facts in third grade. Talking to these kids, they never memorized their math facts. They were expected to understand the concept of multiplication and take their little strips and stripes and boxes and do the long math of understanding. And I think it hurt them. Chalk flew fast if you were slow. The pheasant plucker one can be naughty. Yeah, Stacy, I did that one too. Almost made that one. One version of it I got. Second one had me doing foul things to foul. Figure eight song from Schoolhouse Rock is my favorite. I like interjection. I mean, of course, I like Bill. There's the ones like Conjunction Junction that everyone loves. But of the ones that people don't mention, I'm a big fan of interjection. And I like the adjectives one. I learned multiplication by nines on fingers. I did that one too. Lolly, 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 get your F word here. Preamble, we the people, in order to build a more perfect union. I remember that one. Sesame Street Count Dracula 1. Everyone, I went to a fast food place and my total was $5.64. I gave him $20.64 and got back $10. Server didn't understand the 64 cents and had to get the manager. The best is when you don't even give them exact change. Like instead of 64, if you gave them 14 cents. Like the idea of 14 cents is so that they give me change for 50 cents, not 64 cents, because I just want quarters. That blows them all out of the water, and probably some older people too. Unpack your adjectives. That one, Stacy, absolutely one of my favorites. Ever drank from the garden hose? Seriously? Of course. And there was a lizard in it. No. Okay, so I read before reading. No, that never happened to me. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. Wasn't there one about ice skating? Yep, that was figure eight. It would be great if you could make a figure eight. Did I pee on an electric fence? I've never actually even seen an electric fence. Ever watch MV3 after school? No. Always read the entire sentence. Genghis, that is a good piece of advice. Isn't all of Schoolhouse Rock Gen X? Yeah, in the 90s they expanded it and made some new stuff, but that's still us. 3-2-1 Contact I loved. They are phasing out the penny. Yeah, but it's going to take decades. There's literally billions of them out there. And unlike money, coin lasts forever, so it's going to be around for a while yet. Wax bottles in the summertime. Inner Planet Janet, she's a galaxy girl. Loved reading Rainbow. Yeah, gee, I don't know what MV3 is. Now I've got interjection stuck in my head. Old Sesame Street stuff. I was just reading. Do you guys remember Snuffleupagus? So I remember as a kid, it gave me our version of anxiety, nothing too severe, but it bothered me as a kid when Big Bird kept trying to tell the adults that he had this friend, Snuffleupagus. But every time an adult would show up and Snuffy was there, Snuffy would disappear, be gone. And none of the adults were believing him. Never believed that he was around. And it bothered me as a kid. And then I remembered the one episode where they finally see him. And everybody understood that it wasn't a joke or it wasn't a lie, that he existed. What I didn't realize, the reason they did that was they were afraid that the lesson they were teaching kids, the whole stranger danger thing became so prevalent that they didn't want a story arc around a kid saying, hey, this person's in my life, and the adults not believing him. So that's why they phased out the whole snuffleupagus being invisible kind of thing, because they didn't want a storyline where a kid was, and Big Bird being the kid, was telling trusted adults, hey, there's this person that's hanging around me, and the parents didn't believe him. Where do you go for the t-shirts that I mentioned? It's it's just, if you go to GenXJono, GenXJono .dashery, DASHERY.com. GenXJono.dashery.com, and they are on sale 35% off. I think they've got them on 35% off at TeePublic till midnight tonight. My parents did not listen to instrumental music on the radio. My mom listened to a lot of Greek music, which was painful for me as a kid. Agreed, Charlie. But I can see their point. Silverhawks was awesome. All Bazooki all the time. Ruck words from you, absolutely. My grandmother understands our math better than what they're teaching now. Deb says, I was so happy when I got a pair of Romper Stompers for Christmas. Romper Stompers are the ones, right, with like the plastic. Yes, ML's got it. GenXJono.dashery.com. I'm going to pin that on Facebook. Thank you, ML. And I just lost all the comments. I don't know why. There we go. They're back. Sorry I can't do the same thing on YouTube. But again, it's fairly easy to find. It's just my nickname, GenXJono.dashery.com. Yeah, I used to make our own Romper Stompers. We would take like big tin cans that our parents kept, like, I don't know, canned goods in. And we would like punch holes in them and just take string and kind of walk with them, all homemade. Rockwart says we made homemade ones too. Someone please tell these people the stuff that they're going through right now we learned in Dr. Seuss books, like the one with, yeah, they're not phasing out the penny and not producing it anymore. That's what I said. It's going to be decades before pennies disappear, if even then. I don't think in our lifetime will we see pennies go away. Time have we got, y'all? 9:30? Billy Joel, yes. Billy Joel canceled. Looks like it's a temporary thing with Billy Joel, thankfully. But he was scheduled to come with Sting to Charlotte. And I wanted to go see that show, but I can't fathom, nor can I afford, to be honest, paying $400 a ticket for good seats. And not great seats, mind you, good seats. So I wouldn't have been there anyway. It's not cancer, Charlie. It's just this brain disorder that was exacerbated by his performing. And during treatment, he just has to stop performing during treatment. Does anyone remember the Popples? I don't. Is Three Monkeys still in Harrisburg? I don't know. Water on the Brain? My mom was in love with Neil Diamond. That's funny, Jill. My mom, the same, because as a Greek immigrant, the song Coming to America just resonated with her. Anytime she would hear Coming to America, she just tears up. Jennifer, Skinny Atlas, New York. Hello, what's going on? Good to see you. Sort of my old stomping grounds. Adult big wheels are a great idea. I'll get one. Joanne reminds us that Canada eliminated pennies a very long time ago. I can't even say it, ML. Isn't it hydrocephalitis? Or is it just hydrocephalus? Because I think I'm missing a syllable there. Hydrocephalitis sounds right, but I don't know. Just a lot of comments. YouTube is definitely going faster than I can keep up at this point. Encephalopathy is fluid and swelling of the brain. Okay. Hey, Jack, what's going on? Hydrocephalus. I can't say that right. Son has basketball popple. Doesn't matter how many times you put it, I cannot read that. Hey, Jen, good to see you coming in from Ohio. Just had some new followers. Thank you so much for following. Asa, thank you for sharing the stream. Angie Gates, thank you for becoming a follower. Santos, thank you for following. Darwin, Greg Lee, Frank Valenti Jr., Leonard, and Paul all became followers. We're up to 227 on the subscriber goals. If that's something y'all think that you might want to join in on for the fun, I just shared the subscriber goal to the stream. 99 cents a month. I don't think it's going to... I enjoy what it does for the group because you guys all have access to a subscriber group, which is kind of fun. But it's all good. Hey, Jennifer, I appreciate the compliment. Thank you for that. Best looking Ferrari and Magnum PI. Could not agree more. YouTube, thank you guys for the love. The super chats today. Hydrocephalus. Thank you for the breakdown. That made it easy. Shannon coming in from Alabama. Do I remember Space Coast? I loved Space Coast. So in the restaurant, you know how we have the even today, I guess, the big styrofoam cups, the white styrofoam cups. We used to pop out the bottom and our hands were small enough that we'd put our hands through the styrofoam cups and we would draw like the buttons from Space Ghost on the styrofoam cups, and we played Space Ghost that way. Pretty genius idea, if I do say so myself. Inspector Gadget. I love Adult Swim version of Space Ghost. I like that. It just kind of makes fun of it. I liked it all. I appreciate that, Paula. Thank you. TK finally made it to the party. Welcome. I would love to visit Buffalo for football this year. I plan on being up there in September. Genghis says I found it. I'm glad. Hanker for a hunk of cheese or a slab or a slice or a chunk. Gotta run. I'm going to be heading out soon too, Sheila. Thank you. We were creative, Dorian, and we do have imaginations. Hey, Sonia, good to see you. Hey, Lori, coming in from Medicine Hat, Alberta. Yvonne, hello. Jeff, go Bills. Laugh Olympics was awesome. Do I like Rick and Morty? I probably haven't given it enough of a shot. Finally, the cool kids. I'd like to go to a Bills game for the KC game, not paying $300 for a ticket. James, I agree. I think we all have to stop paying exorbitant prices for things, and that's the only way to bring it down. They can't afford to have an empty stadium. They can't afford to have an empty concert. But the good thing about football is you don't have to be close to enjoy it. I don't mind the cheap seats there. Good. How are you doing, gaming? Good to see you. Why? Big Dave, what's going on? I didn't see you sneak in. Born in 1983. Good to see you, Lawrence. Beavis and Butthead. I'm growing to like. Red and Stimpy, I think, are awesome. Travin, thank you so much, buddy. 53 years old. I've decided I'm not lazy. I'm on energy saving mode. I like it. And that brings us over $20. Make you holler. I get paid to, well, beyond this. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. And again, that's what makes it possible. I'll be heading out to Dallas this weekend. I've got Pittsburgh planned later in the year. New York City, hopefully, for Comic-Con in October. And then I'm just going to start looking and seeing where the majority of you guys are. I'm trying to figure out where would be a good place to hang. And I'm going to Texas. Yes, Big Dave. I will be in Dallas at the convention center Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this coming weekend for Fan Expo. Lauren coming in from Paraguay. How are you? Which con is it? It's called Fan Expo in Dallas. If you ever want to know where I am, Jen, I'll be in Pittsburgh in August for Steel City Con. If you guys ever want to just know what's going on with me, genxjono.com. I'm putting blogs out there that I'm writing. I will start posting pictures of places I've been that'll always be there. And I have a calendar there, which shows like the Tuesday night trivia I do every week. It shows where I'm going in terms of conventions. So if you're ever wondering where I'm going to be, genxjono.com will tell you that. And if you ever want to get me somewhere, if you think there's this convention that I shouldn't miss, there's this event that I need to be at, there's a link there to comment, to content, to get in contact with me. Let me know. And that's the idea. These things all cost money, and you guys help me by sharing. Now, I've never been to Arizona yet, TJ, but you guys even sharing, commenting, subscribing, super chats, all that stuff helps me out in a big, big way. Thank you, Jacqueline. I appreciate it. $9.99 super chat from Jacqueline. You should come to WNC. Hope you do something in Charlotte again soon. Charlotte, every Tuesday night, I do Tuesday night trivia night at the Hickory Tavern in Fort Mill. Just Google search Hickory Tavern, Fort Mill. It's 20 minutes south of Charlotte. Just come on by. It's every Tuesday at 7 o'clock. So that's easy. If you just want to come, say hi, play a game of trivia, take a picture. Do I collect comics? I used to. They kind of price themselves out for me, but I still read them online, and I still have about 10,000 comic books. Travin, dude, I appreciate you so much. Need to get up these numbers. Gen X, not always sarcastic. Sometimes I'm asleep. Travin, dude, you gotta go. We gotta go. You have a career waiting for you in stand up, my friend. Thank you so much. That puts us almost at $100 today, which just blows my mind. Thank you guys so much. Did I watch Land of the Lost? I still have nightmares of Sleestacks because of it. Once because it's 4 hours away. Kings Island's only 2. Fort Wayne, Indiana. I'd love to visit Arizona. I'm hoping it'll come. I wanted to go out to Oregon this June for Gooниeville, but I don't think it's going to happen. What's my Facebook? If you guys want to find me on any platform, it's always Gen X Jono. Search Gen X Jono on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube. You can even go to Google and just put in Gen X Jono. And I just noticed somebody told me that for the first time ever, AI is now aware of who I am. If you put in Gen X Jono, the Google AI will walk you through where to find me and what I do. Thank you, Luck. I appreciate that. Appreciate you, S. Shalbo. Thank you. Twitter too. Yeah, you can be one of 400 people that follow me there. No worries, base. It's every Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. You'll get us one of these days. Yeah, X, I don't even push out as often as I should now. Twitter just does not like me. I'm really good at bad decisions, Travin. But it's okay. It makes life interesting. When am I coming to Pittsburgh? Steel City Con in August. There's going to be a bunch of people there. Celebrities. John Schneider, Bo Duke, is going to be featured. I think John Cusack is also going to be featured. So somebody that the right wings can hate and somebody that the left wingers can hate. So equal opportunity. TK, thank you so much. $5 super chat. Dude, I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you. That's funny. I try to make sure it's equal opportunity. Because I'll post a picture with somebody and somebody on one side of the political spectrum will accuse me of being that side. And then I'll immediately post on the other side, and then I'll get that side. I'll wear a Reagan shirt because I was a kid in the 80s, so I've got that shirt, or a Clinton shirt because I was a kid in the 90s, and I'll get hate from that side. Dude, it's not the people. You know, Wirehead says John Cusack is one of my all-time favorites. One of my all-time favorite actors from some of my all-time favorite movies. I'm not going to go get a picture with John Cusack. I don't know John Cusack. I'm getting a picture with Lane. I'm getting a picture with the older brother from Stand By Me. I'm getting a picture with Bo Duke. I hate that people cheat themselves out of experiences because somebody was silly enough to let them know what side of the political spectrum they hang on. It's in the name, Twitter. That's why it doesn't work. That's funny. Chrissy, I couldn't agree with you more. I ignore all that stuff. If I was going to, yeah, AI is dangerous. I believe it. If I was going to unfollow, stop watching, stop listening to music or movies or TVs based on the person in them, there'd be nothing left on any side. Talk hard from a boomer to an Xer. Dude, thank you so much. You guys kill it. I cannot thank you guys enough. Thank you so much. You guys make everything possible. So John Snyder lives San Antonio, spotted driving an old pickup truck. Nothing to do with anything, but you're a Cubs fan. I'm a Reds fan. God help me, right? My Cubbies are doing, knock on wood, are doing great right now. Hopefully we can keep it going. We'll see. I should be wearing this more than that, considering the time of year, but yeah, I'm looking forward to having a great time. I'm going to share as much of the convention as possible with all of you. Stay close to your phones. I'll share as much streaming as they allow me to do. I'll take as many pictures with as many of y'all that are going to be out there. Gina Scott Williams, if you don't follow her, you should. Go Cubbies. She's a lot of fun. We're going to make content together while we're there. And then, like I said, hopefully be able to show you guys the people we grew up watching. I'm really excited about that. The idea of owning a movie theater sounds awesome. Great Cubs game today. No, the one that was awesome was yesterday. Did you watch? They were behind 2-0, then 4-0, then 4-2, then 6-2, and then ended up winning. It was incredible. They flew the W. Show was a breath of fresh air. Thank you for sharing. Thank you, Dorinda. Jen's engaged. Congratulations, Jen. I just want people to, I just desperately want to, if I'm going to influence anything, it's influencing people to stop hating each other based on our opinions. We all grew up with the lives that we have, which brings us to the opinions that we have. It's okay. And then you don't have to talk about it. Some people say, no, I refuse to acknowledge your opinion if I believe your opinion is evil. Okay, then let's not talk about it. Let's find where we come together and build from that. Retro Sonia says, Gina's one of my favorite content creators. Wish I could be there to meet you all. I can't wait to meet her. I think we're going to have a blast. Cindy Haynes, let's go Cubs. That was 2 days ago. You're right, Jill. But that was a great game nonetheless. Is it crazy that I watch more on my phone than I ever do with TV? No, it's not crazy. Born in 74. I appreciate you, Adam. I couldn't agree more, Yvonne. Furniture was never covered in plastic when I was growing up, Zarina. We were just threatened with death if we sat on the good furniture. My mom didn't have to cover the good furniture. She just had to scare the hell out of us so we never sat on it. Never went into that room. Paula, I love Speed Racer. Agree to disagree is a lost art. Yeah. It's because both sides think the other side is evil, is fundamentally evil. Words like get thrown around on both sides that are just, it's unconscionable to hate somebody that much on the other side. Just, it bothers me so much. Plastic Floor Runner, that we had at our house. Rockford Files, I loved the intro. I never really watched the show much. I was young, really young there, but the intro I think is awesome. One of the best teachers I worked with had completely opposite political views. We really worked well together. Even gave him a ride home the other day. I've got relatives, I've got friends that are so polar opposite. It's everybody's polar opposite of me though, because I'm kind of in the middle. I believe this on this side and that on that side, and I don't know. And I'm always open to listening. I'm always, hey, what's going on, Toby? I'm always willing to listen. I may not agree, but I'll listen, and then I'll tell you why I don't agree. And then you can tell me why you don't agree, and then we can just take it, put it over there, and go get a beer. I'll have a beer with anybody. Just be a good person. Believe what you believe because you truly believe it's the right thing to do. That's all. Satan punishes evildoers for eternity, and yet he's the bad guy. I like that, dude. Thank you again. But yeah, that's the thing. If you believe that your beliefs are going to make the world a better place genuinely, then I can respect that. And I believe the same thing on my side. I just want us to stop hating each other. That's all. Boomer from Alaska. Juno was raised in California. Loved all the cartoons we had. Me too. My Greek and Italian friends' parents had plastic on the couch and floor runners. We had the one room we weren't even allowed in, and my mom policed it like Schultz from Hogan's Heroes. Except that she was actually good at her job and she didn't see nothing, she saw everything. If we disturbed the pattern that the vacuum cleaner left in the floor, she caught it. Always knew if we were in that room. And I don't know what business we had in that room anyway. It was like velvet furniture, and I mean, we grandfather clock. There was no TV. Why we did, but don't go in that room. So that's all it took. Don't go in there. Of course, we wanted to go in there. Having a team to Kenneth. Well, let's see. Having a cigarette now. God, I miss cigarettes. If I make it to 90, I'm going to pick up smoking again. That's maybe 95, maybe 100. Maybe that'll be my gift to myself at 100. But I'm glad I quit. If anybody's trying to quit, don't think that I'm not glad I quit. I wish more people thought like you. Some people label you in the worst possible way. I don't like. We grew up where we didn't have labels. The thing about a voting booth having a door or a curtain on it was for a reason. But people need to know when to shut up too. Let's be honest. If you're somebody out there that you rely upon the masses, then don't say things to alienate half of them. But I honestly believe people do things to piss people off. It's the views that I get. Being nice only gets you so far on social media. Being mean, making people angry. There's some crazy statistic that people you hate, you will watch twice as long for a short period of time than you will people you like. You're more likely to comment against something you hate. I don't know, but I don't want to be hated. I like people. Even though I joke and say sometimes I don't feel like peopling, I like people. I think people are genuinely good. I think most people are genuinely good. Paula, I quit smoking the easiest way possible. This is going to sound disingenuous or stupid, but I quit smoking by not smoking. That's the long and short of it. I smoked a pack and a half a day for over 30 years, and just made a promise to my youngest daughter, both my daughters, that I was done. And that was back on March 20th, 2020. Once I promised to my kids I was done, that was the end of it. I just realized that what was driving me crazy in my quits was this internal dialogue in my head of when was I going to fail? Like can I have one today? No. Can I? No. Can I? No. Can I? No. Dave, thank you for the stars. Once I decided I was done, no matter how much it sucked, it made it really a lot easier, Paula. You just have to realize that no matter how much it sucks, you just don't smoke anymore. And then eventually it'll stop sucking when it finally does. Cold turkey was it. I agree, Jacqueline. It's the only way I could have. It allowed it to get out of my system quickly. And then the more days that I put together, the less likely I was to throw it all away by smoking again. Firehead, that's funny. You quit by quitting. That is, everything else is a crutch and a joke and designed to keep bringing you back. That's it. And for me, writing helped. I found a site called Ex-Smoker, Becoming an Ex. And if you look up Gen X Jono on becominganex.com, you'll see that I wrote a lot during that time. It just felt good to write things out and talk about something weird for Gen Xers, but to talk about how I was feeling. And I was miserable. When I'm telling you I was miserable, I was miserable. I was convinced that smoking had never been harder to quit for anybody as bad as it was for me. $7.85 a pack. I don't think they're that expensive here. New York, I think they're like $12 a pack. Have to be in uniform tomorrow for Memorial Day services. Thank you so much for your service. I appreciate you immensely. I do hypnosis. I help many people quit. Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. What's weird, Stacy? I never suffered externally the ill effects of smoking. I never had a smoker's cough. I never woke up feeling stuffed or with a cough. I never was winded. Now that doesn't mean internally there wasn't all kinds of horrible things going on, but I finally just quit because my kids wanted me to. Hey, Joyce, maybe you should publish a book. I don't, honestly, if I did, it wouldn't be about quitting smoking because that's a short chapter. Chapter one, decide to quit smoking. Chapter one, page two, quit smoking. But I've started a book on what it's like growing up Gen X. It's just hard. I want a He-Man woman haters shirt. I wonder what that would look like. Yeah, and I've started it, Dave. I'm probably about 80 pages in. It's a little bit about being a Gen Xer growing up in the 70s and 80s and 90s, and it's also a little bit about being first generation growing up because that's my experience. $20 a pack in Ontario, Canada. You know what? And if money was not what made, I would pay 20 and more if I was still smoking. I would find an excuse, cut something else out. I would find a way to make it work for me. David, and I'm telling you, Gundich, if you guys want to quit, just quit. DM me. I'll find your DM. I will be there for you. If you feel like quitting, I'll walk you through it. I'll do whatever I can. It's the hardest thing about quitting is deciding you're done, not deciding you're quitting, because quitting is almost impossible because it's constant. If you're quitting, then it's exhausting because that's all you can think about is the fact that you're quitting. If you've quit, then something shifts internally in your brain where you might recognize the fact that you feel like shit and that you hate it and that every day sucks and that the best thing that you ever experienced in the world is gone. But at least you don't have to think about quitting anymore because that's already happened. You'll quit, but cluck like a chicken every time you hear the word. Yeah, it's better than the alternative, I guess. Dorinda says, took me many years, but I formed a relationship with God and he helped me through my struggles. I wish I had that sort of relationship with God. I try, and I don't talk much about my faith on here. But it's a journey, I guess. People say just give it to God. God's not, it doesn't seem to ever want to take my crap. I'm going to go to hell. Lightning's going to strike me where I sit. But that's always my joke. I'm like, I've tried. He keeps giving it back. Joan, just quit. I promise you, it is the best thing. You know what the cool thing is? If you start looking at it, there's not much that we do in our lives at this age that is life-changing, that can have an impact on who we are and who we become. Quitting smoking changed who I was. It made me really, really, really realize that we have, oh, Sonia, I know that. I do know that. But there's a reason we call it faith, right? Instead of knowing. Because it's faith. It changed who I am. Quitting smoking changed who I am. It taught me that I have strength that I didn't realize I had, and I feel so proud that I've not put a cigarette to my lips and since that day. I quit and I was done. But 100. If I get to 100, it'll probably taste like shit. Yes, dude from Wisconsin. When I quit smoking, I thought my wife found the world's greatest strawberries on the face of the planet. I was like, where did you get these strawberries? Because it was like that. One day, nothing, and then the next day, boom. And she's like, what do you think? They're just strawberries. Then I had watermelon. I'm like, holy moly, these are so good. So yes, your taste buds do come back, and it does change the way food tastes for me immensely. And I have an app that will show me how many. I think it's if I hadn't quit smoking, I would have in this time smoked something like 47,000 cigarettes. Yeah, and I was done quitting. When people say, how do you successfully quit? I successfully quit smoking the minute I put out my last cigarette. I didn't use anything, Brenda, except bitching and moaning. There was a lot of that. Most people that succeed long term, and I mean, if you find a way to quit, you have at it. Doesn't matter what it takes. But most that I've known that quit long term did it cold turkey. Who do you think helped me quit? Me, 19 years when Chase was born. I remember, Joyce, you and my mom, and I mean everybody. Joyce is like an aunt to me. I grew up with her daughter, and Joyce worked with my parents. They all smoked. Holy moly, did they all smoke. If the 70s and 80s had a scent, it would be lemon scented pledge mixed with cigarette smoke. It was just everywhere. And I remember as kids hating it, hating that our parents smoked, and then we all started smoking. Can I smell again? Yeah, and one of the most offensive smells you experience flat out. For me, it wasn't the smell of cigarette smoke. That didn't bother me. It was how bad somebody who just finished smoking smells, like on them. That smell was almost offensive. And I'm like, I used to smell like that? And then some people said, no, you were pretty good about always smoking outside and then immediately washing your hands. So at least that, but it's bad. As a Gen X kid, what was my opinion of the third generation Camaro and Firebird when they came out? I like the old, my favorite, I mean, when I look at those, like a Trans Am with a big ass eagle on the front is about as good as it gets. Mom smoked Salem Lights. My mom smoked Territon 100s. Don't remember what my dad smoked. Probably anything to get his hands on. I don't think he cared. What's going on, Primus? Jennifer says, my mom died from smoking, never did it. A lot did. Brian reminds us that's why we all made ashtrays in art class. Well, listen, guys, I am going to call last call because we are at 9:57. We ran late because it was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Housekeeping. 2 hours left on the Memorial Day weekend sale. Helmet, how are you? If you guys have been looking at a t-shirt you like, this is the time to buy it. I never know ahead of time when TeePublic's going to throw sales. This is the first one since I've been on the platform. I know they're bringing shirts down from like $22 down to $16. May even be able to use a coupon with it. I don't know. But that sale is going on at genx.jono.dashery.com. If you are looking at a shirt, get it now. Get it cheaper. That's genxjono.dashery.com. It is pinned on Facebook. It is there on YouTube. Kind of cursive. Nobody under the age of 30 can do it. I don't want to stop. I love you too, Lori. Thank you. Love it. I appreciate that you like the content. So yeah, right there. Next 2 hours, still on sale for everybody that donated, whether it was through subscribing on Facebook for that 99 cents or stars, which there were plenty of. All of you guys on YouTube. Check out the new videos, right? It's backwards. Oh, sorry. I didn't realize it was doing that. genxjono.dashery.com. Not too hard. It's also my link tree. I will be back online tomorrow night live on YouTube for the 3-View Mirror. If you've never played, come in at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Play a game with me and Chris and Gen X Shell. I think Chris is the host this week. Other than that, I will see you guys on Tuesday for Gen X Trivia Night on YouTube. That's it. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And if not, I will see you next week. Anybody got anything? Jen, thank you. Gift memberships were just given out by... Who just did that? Can't read the name. But somebody just purchased a bunch of gift memberships on YouTube. Thank you so much. Watching Gen X is what Gen X is. And I will see those of you on tomorrow or Tuesday. Otherwise, next Sunday night we'll be live from Dallas. Let's go. Talk to y'all soon. Peace and love. Good night.